The elder millennials were the first generation raised on neon cereal, MTV, and dial-up dreams. They were the last to remember what silence felt like before the internet filled it. They remember boredom, stillness, waiting, the sound of a phone actually ringing instead of buzzing, dial-up tones and rotary phones. The rhythm of life before everything became instant. They became the bridge between two worlds, the analog that taught patience and the digital that demanded speed. I'm one of them, an elder millennial, born in '83. I know it's hard to tell because I'm aging. So, well, kidding. Well, kind of. That's another symptom, isn't it? We're so obsessed with chasing youth that we forget what growing into ourselves even looks like. Anyway, I remember that shift, the one where wonder turned synthetic and the magic got monetized. Elder millennials were raised on processed food, pop culture, and participation trophies. They were told that fat was bad, sugar was fine, and asked constantly if they had milk. They were promised individuality, but all given the same shopping cart. They were told freedom meant buying more stuff, and we believed it. That's when the programming updated. And historically, what looks like progress can tend to really just be conditioning because, good old capitalism. They didn't just sell us their products. They actively rewired our nervous system. Think acting like Pavlov's dog and drooling every time you hear a notification ping on your phone. We were promised freedom if we worked hard enough, bought the right things, and smiled through the exhaustion. But now the cost is showing. Burnout, anxiety, bodies aging faster than time should allow, and Gen Z is showing us that in real time. This isn't about vanity anymore. It's about survival. Because what we call modern life, it's really a slow siphoning of life force. And it's time for us to wake up and stop pretending that it's normal. Look around. Babies are being born with microplastics in their blood. The soil is drenched in chemicals. A single soda has 70 grams of sugar. We breathe toxic air, drink filtered poison, and eat food that was never alive. And the longer it goes on, the more normal it feels. That's the distortion. The sickness hides in plain sight. In the packaging, in the scrolling, in the smiling. It's not just in the food or in the water. It's in the pace too, the pressure, the endless proving. We were raised to confuse exhaustion for success, to worship the grind, to call it ambition, when it's actually survival. High-stress jobs, tight smiles, gratitude lists we don't really mean. That's not peace, that's performance. And we've been performing so long that most people can't tell the difference. We chase safety like it's a finish line, but every time we get close, it moves. The rent goes up, the groceries go up, the expectations go up. And somehow our energy keeps going down. That's not freedom, that's engineered burnout. Addiction isn't just substances anymore. It's the overuse, abuse, or obsession with anything that numbs us enough to survive the next day. So scrolling, snacking, shopping, self-improvement, it's all the same loop. Your day is always 100% full. That's law. The question is what is it full of? We've become addicted to movement, to stimulation, to noise that tricks us into thinking that we're alive. That's hyperdized consumerism and excess of excess. Addiction disguised as lifestyle, distraction sold as identity. And that's the thing, it's not just cultural anymore, it's biological. Every notification, every deadline, every bright blue screen at midnight is teaching your body to live in emergency mode. Your nervous system was built to handle a storm, not live inside of one. But most people do. Noodles, I can't reach that, buddy. Come on. Their adrenaline never turns off. Their cortisol never clears. Their mind hums constantly with what if and not enough. We call it anxiety, but it's really adaptation. Your body trying to keep you alive in a system that never stops demanding more. So you wake up tired. You need caffeine to start, sugar to keep going, and alcohol or weed to finally slow down. You forget what true rest feels like. You mistake stillness for laziness. And when the body finally breaks, we call it burnout. But really, it's the bill coming due from a lifetime of overdrive. I've already made a video on performance debt, and I'll link it in the description below if you want to watch it. That's the toll, okay? It's not just mental or emotional, but spiritual. Because when you're constantly in survival mode, you can't create. You can't feel real joy. You can't connect. You can only cope. And that's the point where most people stop believing that there's another way, because the cage starts to feel like home. Someone once said, Western society is the kingdom of advertisement. And I haven't stopped thinking about it since. The truth is, all of us, regardless of how old we are now, we're never sold just products. We're sold ourselves. And here's what I mean from an elder millennial viewpoint. We were the first kids raised inside commercials disguised as cartoons, on cereal boxes screaming at us before we could even read, and on movies created for the sole purpose of selling merchandise. We were told to express ourselves, but only through what we bought. We were told to rebel, yeah, but only in ways that could be monetized. Remember Hot Topic? That was our teenage cathedral, right? I mean, I wouldn't be caught dead in Abercrombie. Anyone else, or is this just me? I'm the only one. I was totally against the preppy thing. Anyway, black eyeliner, safety pins, band tees, and corporate rebellion for $29.99. It felt like freedom, but it was still consumption. Even our rebellion had branding. And that's the real genius of the machine. It doesn't care what side we pick. It only cares that we keep playing the game. Every aesthetic, every subculture, every new wave is just another aisle for the same store. We choose our flavor of identity, check out, and call it individuality. This is the empire of dopamine, a civilization built on the high of the next hit, the sale, the like, the validation, the next promise of more. We scroll for connection and end up buying comparison. We chase authenticity and land in algorithms. We don't even notice anymore because the feedback loop feels good. It's not evil in the sense of like a cartoon villain. It's just efficient. A system designed to turn human attention into profit. And somewhere along the way, consumption stopped being what we did and became who we are. That's why we're miserable, because no matter how many boxes we check, we're still starving for something that can't be bought. We were never meant to be marketed. We were meant to be moved. And until we remember that difference, we'll keep mistaking the simulation for freedom. And all that noise, the ads, the algorithms, the constant selling, it piled up until we couldn't see what was real anymore. All that noise thickened and dampened around us like a fog, smothered our senses and drowned out our signal. And so we learn to live from the neck up, disconnected from the pulse that makes us human. And even our healing has gotten hijacked. Manifest more, raise your vibration, release what doesn't serve you, all light. No structure. We chase enlightenment the same way we chase everything else, fast, flashy, and for sale. Crystals, courses, certifications, scroll, purchase, ascend. Spirituality turned into another side quest for status. No one taught us how to hold energy once it rises, how to breathe through emotion instead of ejecting it, how to sit in stillness without trying to monetize it. So we performed spirituality instead of embodying it. We spoke about surrender while our nervous system stayed locked in fight or flight. We repeated affirmations while our body whispered, I don't believe you. And the irony, the system that taught us to consume our pain also taught us to consume our healing. We bought the illusion of wholeness in downloadable form, but embodiment, it can't be purchased. It has to be practiced. That's why so many of us chase awakening after awakening and still feel hollow. You can't ascend if your vessel is cracked. You have to become the container. And until we rebuild that structure inside ourselves, every upgrade will short circuit. Real light doesn't bypass the dark. It moves through it, steadies there, and becomes usable power. That's not just theory for me. That's lived experience. Here's what changed everything for me. I stopped trying to think my way out of suffering and started just listening to my body. I realized that I wasn't broken. I was dysregulated. Addiction, anxiety, burnout, they weren't signs of weakness, they were signals. My body was just trying to keep me safe in a system that never stops demanding more. And the real healing, it didn't come from adding more steps or more supplements or more hacks. It came from remembering how to hold myself. That's what the ritual of light teaches. It's a daily practice that rebuilds the container. It rewires the body to hold power instead of leaking it, because you can't heal by escaping the world. You heal by learning how to stay in it, steady, present, and alive. Your body is the bridge between your mind and your soul. When you start to regulate that bridge, you stop reacting and start creating. You stop chasing peace and start becoming it. The body is where the light lands. And once you can hold that light, everything else begins to change. We can't fight every system at once, but we can stop feeding them. Start small. Notice what owns your attention, like this little bug right here. Every scroll, every impulse, I'll just check that real quick. That's your energy. That's your currency. And every time you spend it unconsciously, something else grows stronger. So breathe before you react. Move slower than the algorithm. Eat food that remembers the sun. Say no and mean it. Each time you choose stillness over stimulation, you pull a plug from the machine. It's not avoidance, it's reclamation. That's revolution at the nervous system level. We were the first generation raised inside the simulation. Maybe we're the first meant to end it. We don't have to fight the machine. We just have to stop being its battery. If this cracked something open for you, watch this video next. It's about the hidden mechanics of addiction. Is it over here? It's over here. One day, guys, I'll get it. But it'll help you see how deep this programming really goes. And if you're ready to rebuild your container from the inside out, start with the ritual of light. my daily practice for reconnecting with your body, your power, and your peace. It's time to stop surviving and start remembering who you are. This has to stop, and it starts with us. He is fetched out. He's so happy.